After playing, all these years with all these different people, Pinhead, Vincent, and all these rock rollers and
rhythm and blues artists and jazz artists,
the man still had a vision that he could be better than he was.
John Coltrane created a world of sound, a world that has influenced not only jazz, but contemporary classical music, rock, pop, and funk. He immersed himself in the traditional cultures of our planet, especially Asian, African, and Middle Eastern traditions, and brought their musical ideas into the mainstream of Western cultures. Fueling his search was a relentless curiosity.
John and his wife, they knew that whatever interest they had in me extended far beyond just me. It's like they want to see my mother, my father, and it was wild. I found out that John's father was a preacher, so that he had all that really spiritual thing about home and family.
He was very close to his mother. The father left the body when he was a very young boy, so he grew up really with quite a strong maternal influence. She had a very deep religious background, and she tried to instill spiritual principles in him. And he respected her for that, and I think it set a guideline for him in his life to follow the values that his mother instilled in him.
John Coltrane was born in Hamlet, North Carolina on September 23, 1926. The music of ecstatic, spirited services of the black church he attended as a child left an imprint on Coltrane's music as indelible as the mark his parents' spirituality left on his character. A welter of voices, emotional expression given free rein, these became touchstones in John Coltrane's music. After moving to Philadelphia to live with his mother, Coltrane began playing the alto saxophone. He undertook formal music studies at the Granoff Studios, which awarded him scholarships in clarinet, saxophone, and composition. By the time he was drafted into the Navy at the end of World War II, he had already become attracted to the then emerging modern jazz idiom. He honed his jazz abilities and made his professional debut in 1945.
I met John Coltrane, I think around 1947, when he got out of the Navy. One had to earn a living and one would play whatever was necessary.
Coltrane learned another equally emotional musical language, related to the church and its secular counterpart, the blues. This was rhythm and blues with its honking and screaming tenor saxophones. Many of his early musical experiences were in the rhythm and blues world of the Saturday night church, juke joints, and bars.
Train worked in some of those kind of bands to get out on the road and make some money. And, when you work in those kind of bands and when the most famous saxophonists are like Arnett Cobb, Illinois Jacket, and they do a little hooting and booting, so you learn how to do a little of that to satisfy a public.
In the late 1940s, the harmonically advanced, melodically rich music of Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, and Thelonious Monk was the inspiration for a new generation of musicians. Coltrane took quickly to the new language called bebop, studying, practicing, and playing it publicly when he could. In the early 50s, he played with Gillespie and other bebop innovators while continuing to find employment with the rhythm and blues bands of Earl Bostic and others. But already his playing was diverging from the norm.
He was unique in the fact that he had a sound similar to Charlie Parker's on alto. But he didn't play as many of Charlie Parker's cliches as most others did around at that time.
He sounded like, to me, like similar to what Charlie Parker sounded like. It seemed like they were playing a saxophone as if it was not a saxophone. Looping and doing things that pianists would do, or violinists. And having that kind of facility, breakthrough to get to that kind of facility does take hours and hours of practice. It's a muscular, physical thing that you have to rev up to.
He was a person that attacked his problems, you know, wherein some people would lay back on what they'd already learned to play. If there was a specific problem that bothered him, Coltrane could zoom in on that problem until he solved it. He wanted to know everything that was possible. He was a very curious person about things he wanted to know about. You know, we used to go to the Philadelphia library together and listen to Stravinsky and Western classical music. You know, they had the earphones and we could listen. And we used to be curious about that because we found out that Charlie Parker was carrying around the Firebird Suite scores, and he had been playing things in his solos that were taken from Western classical music. In fact, Dizzy and all of the beboppers took the harmonies more serious than their predecessors.
In 1955 and 59, Coltrane played in the popular and innovative bands of trumpeter Miles Davis, taking time out to work with Thelonious Monk, as well as organize his own record dates.
One time John called me when I went back home and asked me to, if I wanted to do a Sunday night or Monday night at Birdland. We call them the Monday nights at Birdland with him. And I said, yeah. So we had a rehearsal at his house. It was Freddie Hubbard, myself, Cedar Walton. And actually that night when we played, two pianists, it was Cedar Walton and Tommy Flanagan. And a bass player who died, George Tucker. And on the drums, we had someone on drums, and then in walked Elvin Jones. And Elvin Jones played like a couple of sets with us. They took turns. And that was sort of a nucleus for the rhythm section, kind of rhythm section that Train was looking for.